Hello, everybody, and welcome to a rare Sunday broadcast. It's June the 25th, 2023. My name is Kerry Holzman. Thank you so much for joining me today. And hello to our good friends in the chat room. I see Buster is in there, contributes 10 pounds. He says, "Good evening, Kerry and Marlena, and everyone in the chat. All the best from Bonnie, Scotland, where the temperature in Edinburgh is 71 degrees Fahrenheit or 21 degrees Celsius. 109 degrees here, I think right now should be up to 111. Want to trade? Peter Laycock, or Buster as we call him, sent an email the other day and saw that when we were giving away all the mini PCs yesterday, we had a gentleman who was a military veteran who wanted to nominated themselves for a PC, and I thought, oh, I'll give him one of the veteran giveaways. And Peter emailed me and said that won't do. Get him something nice, and sent some money to buy Douglas a brand new computer. So what I thought I would do, first of all, holy cow, right? What a generous person Peter is. He doesn't know who Douglas is. They've never met. So what I did was I went on Amazon and I went to see what's a good PC we can get. That's going to have Windows 11 and maybe not be at the bottom of the barrel, but not be way up at the top either, because that would be super expensive and probably overkill for Douglas's needs if I had to guess. So I picked out I've got actually three new computers I ordered that I think two of them are mid-range, and this is one of them. And I thought, let me get some computers from manufacturers I've never heard of before. And if they're absolutely terrible, then I'll dig into my pile here and find something decent. But I thought something around a Ryzen 5, i5, somewhere in there. So there's a lot of companies out there that we have not seen yet. Companies like TrigKey, companies like Awow. It's fascinating to me to see all of these weirdly named companies, some that are impronounceable names where they don't have any vowels. Like, I don't even know how you would say their names. And I suspect that this is a moment in time that we will look back on and think, wasn't that weird? Because this, I predict, won't go on for more than a year, 2 years at the most. Then what's going to happen, or a lot of these companies, they're just not going to sell enough units. They're not going to be sustainable. And we're going to see a lot of them just go away. So I think your big names like Minis Forum and Ace Magician, and I think Geekom's doing really well. I'm forgetting somebody. D-Link. I think they're going to be around for the long haul. But some of these other companies, I'm not quite so sure if Tipton or Tontip or whatever their name is, Awow, I don't know. And then we've got a few companies out there that are clearly running a scam. So let me show you something at Amazon here. Let's go over to my screen share here. And let's see, turn on my screen here. There it is. Okay, so this is today's build. This is the Awow. It's got dual 2.5 gig LAN, which I don't think will benefit Douglas, or most of you for that matter. But regardless, it's a Ryzen 5 5600U. So it's a pretty decent processor with a decent amount of RAM and a decent amount of storage. Windows 11 Pro supports 3 displays because it's got an HDMI out, a DisplayPort out, and a Type-C out. Now, it is only Wi-Fi 5. It's not Wi-Fi 6 or 6E. And I'm not sure what version of Bluetooth it is. It's called the AMG10. And as you can see from the pictures, it's pretty boxy looking, but that's okay. I don't have a problem with how it looks, or, the fact that it might be a little bit, tiny bit bigger only suggests to me that it would be easier to get into if we had to, and likely have better cooling, although I'm making assumptions. It's got room for a 2.5-inch drive to be added. And yeah, I thought, let's try that. It seems pretty decent because, well, $359 isn't exactly the best price. There is a $70 coupon, which brings that under $300. And suddenly now it's getting interesting. Now, I want to give a few shouts out to people. If you, let me see, let me go back to my OBS here. If you'll notice, the shirt I'm wearing today is for TNT Amusements. I subscribe to TNT Amusements because I used to play a lot of arcade games, and TNT Amusements has been in the arcade repair and sales business over 40 years. If they were closer to me, I'd probably be over there at least once a week. But the person who runs the company, Todd and Tucky, TNT, get it? Todd Tucky runs the company, and super easy guy to get along with, easygoing guy. And they have auctions like once a week or once every 2 weeks where they have a lot of miscellaneous parts they no longer need for people who want to build their own system or have an arcade machine that needs a part. You can just buy the part you need. And I want to give a shout out over to his website. I'm sorry, his YouTube page. He does have a website too. And let's bring that up. There it is, TNT Amusements. Like the other day, he was pretty brave. He did a video at the All-American Arcade, and he aired it live on location with a cell phone. And as you can imagine, that's a pretty rough thing to do because live video requires a good, strong internet connection. And when you're on location, and especially when you're around a bunch of electronic devices, your signal's going to get stronger and weaker as you move around. So all the respect in the world to somebody who doesn't care that, you know, hey, if the quality's not there, at least we did it live. That was more important to him than pre-recording it, editing it, and showing it days or weeks later. I got a lot of respect for somebody willing to do that. And here they're doing a bargain basement. You see, this is number 44. He's got 70 arcade video games and pinball machines discounted. Now, I think these are usually parts, not whole machines, but I don't know. We're offering another 70 games where we lower the regular prices and sell them as they are. I see. So they're not repairing them or fixing them up. However, we always go over them before shipping. You save big this way. And even if they break, we do offer service, just like usual. There's no warranty. They're sold as is. That's why they're getting them super cheap. And here's a list of our pinball machines and arcade machines that they're looking to blow out of there. Who else does this? It's a very unique business. Like I said, he's been doing this over 40 years. Oh, there's a Ms. Pac-Man. That's not going to last very long. If you're like me, if you were a teenager in the 80s, you were into the arcades or perhaps into the pinball machines of the 70s and 80s, subscribe to TNT Amusements. They're not paying me to make this. I'm just a fan, okay? Just so you know. There's not much competition in this space. Okay, so getting back to what I was talking about. I'm going to bounce around a little bit here today. Looking at back over at Amazon. If I go up here to the search and I type in mini PC, okay, and then I want to search results over highest price. I want to show you something that I believe is a total scam, and I hope I'm wrong, but I can't imagine how I could be. Let's sort. I don't know why those are coming up as mini PCs. That's pretty interesting. Did I miss something here? Scroll down. Wait, what's this? No, that's an advertisement. Whenever you see a price that's like completely different than all the others, that's a sponsored ad. Because I've sorted these by price. Yeah, somebody's ripping off somebody here. $7,900 for a Nook 12. Come on. Come on. They count on finding that one person that has no idea what they're buying is worth. And all it takes is one sale to make that totally worthwhile. See these two prices, how they don't fall in line? That's a sponsored ad, and that's a sponsored ad. C-Tone, we haven't had anything from C-Tone. Remember, we reach out to these companies, and if they don't respond to us within a certain period of time, we just buy their product. Here's the difference. When we buy their product, we're not obligated in any way, nor do I feel an obligation to follow up the review and see how it does long term. I do a quick overall evaluation of the machine, and if it's good, it's good. It's a first impression kind of review, and we don't go back and reevaluate it. Here's a brand I never heard of, Wowie. We'll have to get one of these and try it out. Now, not this unit. This is obviously a very, very slow unit. It's an A9. Yeah, but what do you expect for under $100? I'd spend the extra $30 to get something way better than that. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to do this a little differently. Mini PC, search for mini PC. And then let's go by filters. There should be something about price. Let's just scroll through here. Oh, somehow I clicked on Geekom. I didn't mean to do that. Let's scroll down. Camrui, B-Link. There's Awow right there. That's a different unit. That's a J4105. It's a very, very slow unit. I want to warn you. I mean, if you're the most patient person in the world and you want to get a 2-year-old budget mini PC, this was budget 2 years ago. Okay, that's why it's only $100. It's not a steal. You're getting exactly what it's worth. C-Tone, Trig Key, we're going to get them on the show. We're going to buy them because we're not hearing from them. Blackview, we'll get some of them, some of their PCs on the show. Once again, we're not hearing from them. GMK Tech, we've been working with. Hopefully, they'll send us other makes and models that are better than what they send. I don't know why a company does that. Why would you be cheap? If I've never seen your product before and you're making a first impression, send me your flagship. It's the cheapest advertising you're ever going to be offered. Why would you send me the cheap junk just so we could turn our nose up? At least, I'm at least considering the fact that they do have other models and that I shouldn't base their company on the low-end machine they sent as a measure of the kind of company they are. So I'm going to keep an open mind towards that, only because they're sending the product to us for review. If I bought it, you know, that'd be a different story. I may not be motivated to buy any more from them. That's what I'm trying to say. So if they get an opportunity to showcase on a YouTube channel with a sizable audience, it's the cheapest advertising for that size of an audience they're ever going to see. So why would they be cheap about it? Now, if you're a company that makes a product that doesn't need advertising, like a Tesla or SpaceX, well, you know, you've got word of mouth and you've got a very unique product. There's not too many products in the world like Tesla. They don't advertise. You don't see commercials for Teslas. There's a Kufun. I don't know what that is. I might have to buy one of those. Not this one, though. That is an Atom processor. That's about 3 or 4 years old. That is terrible. $70. I guess if you had a Raspberry Pi project, I guess, but not as a home PC. That would be just like bamboo under the fingernails for me. Hey, this one, who's this? Somebody that put a cool paint job on it. Okay, I guess. Let's see what else. I'm trying to find something in here, guys, and the interface is different. Oh, there's 230 pages of results. We could be here a while. Let me see. Scroll. That's weird looking. Oh, it's a Lenovo. Lenovo's are going to cost you a bit more money. It's name brand. And you know, you're going to have a warranty and support, which most of these you are not going to get. They'll say you're getting it, but good luck actually getting it. Let's see. There's another one from Awow, a Gen 12. That must be an N95, I'll bet you. Whenever you see this Gen 12 quad core, that's probably the Celeron version, the N version, which isn't terrible, but seems like a bit high of a price for that, for only 8 gigs of RAM. I'd expect at least 16 gigs of RAM for that to be even considered. Here's a Nook 11, an Intel Nook. You can see how the price goes up. But we're also looking at a Core i7 11th gen with 32 gigs of RAM and a terabyte of storage. So you can see how much you're paying and how much you're getting are directly related, including a little extra because it is a name brand with support and warranty. Some of these are going to be off-lease computers. This is an 8th gen Intel i7 for 284. So that is going to be Windows 11 compatible. Used off-lease. Pretty good deal for that, I think. And probably no warranty or support with that because it's already a few years old, 4 or 5 years old. Outside of your 30-day return period with Amazon, you know, if the thing doesn't work or whatever. So what I'm looking for here is I saw a computer that I am not finding right now. Look at that one for $900. It's an Ace Magician with a graphics card. It's a Ryzen 7 5800, 32 gigs. I don't know. 6400 is not that new. Bluetooth 5.2, the latest is 5.3. Wi-Fi 6, the latest is Wi-Fi 6E. Oh, but you could save 250. Okay, okay. That's better. That makes more sense. So when you apply the $250 coupon, you subtract 250 from $899. So that's going to bring you to, what, $649? That's much more reasonable. Because Ace Magician usually has really good value in my experience, but you never quite know who the seller is. It may be Ace Magician, it may not be. Yeah, I am just not having any luck finding this thing. I'm going to go back to, oh, wait a minute. Maybe I can scroll on the left side. Price, here's what I'm looking for. There's 200 and above. There's a unit here that I want to show you if I can just find the darn thing. Here it is. Here it is right here. This is exactly what I was looking for. This company, a company I've never heard of, called Beneco. They're selling a Ryzen 5 5600 that's 2 generations behind. 32 gigs of RAM, that's worth $50, maybe $60 retail. A 1 terabyte M.2 drive, which is worth $50 or $60, maybe less, depending on the speed of it. Other than that, it's a normal Ryzen 5 mini desktop. It doesn't even have that many ports on the back. Yes, it's got USB Type-C, but only one of them, 2 HDMI ports, only 2 USB 3s. And here's the thing. Here's what I want to show you. You look at this and you think, well, why is this not under $600? That's the question. This should be well under $600 in my opinion from the information provided here on the page. And it's a company I've never heard of before that likely has no support or warranty beyond your 30-day return period from Amazon. So this is hype. This is what this appears to be. Nothing but hype and nonsense to get you excited that you're actually going to get more for your money and you should shell out more money. So you say, okay, well, what do the reviews say? Has anybody even bought one of these? Well, what I find interesting is we have 2 reviews, both from generic American names that don't appear to be American, because if you read them, the English is bad. And their review is very generic. It's not very specific about the unit. Wendy says, game tool. First of all, this would not be a good gaming PC. Flat out, let me just tell you, not a good gaming PC. Let's see what it says. This PC is smaller than what I had before. This PC is strong, wireless connection, and easy to install. I want to play games or watch movies. This is quick and convenient, even though the price is a little higher. It's not a little higher. The price is skyrocketed insanely way above value. You should get 3 of them for that price. All right, even though the price is a little higher than others, but still worth it, its work are very well. Well, thank you, Wendy. Review, good, kind of nonsense. All right, let's look at what Andy has to say, because I think Andy and Wendy might be the same person. Let's take a look at the style of writing here. Andy says, I needed a new computer to play games. This is not a gaming PC, but okay. That require high specification. Oh, that's how Americans talk. I require a computer that has high specification for my game. As my pictures are shown, this mini PC has a good CPU. It's not great. It's not spectacular. It's just good. I agree. It's an AMD Ryzen 5 5600A. Oh, he got all that English spelled right, didn't he? And high RAM. Oh, the RAM is high. It's high. It's not a lot. It's not much. It's not significant. It's just stoned. 32 gigs. That can play most PC games that I like Solitaire, maybe. On top of that, it has 1 terabyte for hard drive. Thus, I can install multiple games without worrying about low disk space. Yeah. I don't think he plays games on Steam. As my video is shown, this mini PC works very well with the high-spec games. Ha! The games run smoothly without any lagging, and it shows good visual as well. Because of its fan and the openings on the left and right sides for ventilation, this mini PC doesn't get overheat easily. Therefore, I can play the games as long as I want. Right. Okay. How many of you believe this is a real, well, it is a real product, but how many of you believe that this computer has a value of $1,666.99? You got to tack on the extra 99 cents. There is a level of greed and scamminess dripping off of this review. And I hope none of you buy it, not even to buy it to make a video to explain why you shouldn't buy it, because it just takes one sale and they will make approximately $1,200 or more on that sale, all pure profit. So they're the ones laughing at you, even though you think you're laughing at them by exposing them. Nobody in their right mind would pay more than 3 times the value for a mini PC and believe that those reviews, if they bother to read them, are real. I want you to be aware that Amazon has been playing fast and loose with allowing foreign sellers on the site. And some of these foreign sellers are setting up fraudulent accounts. And I think Amazon is heading towards a lawsuit for aiding and abetting fraud. And I also believe there's going to be a massive lawsuit. I think the Federal Trade Commission is likely aware of this and will be looking to see how Amazon is working as an accomplice and what could even be money laundering. So I think Amazon really needs to be very careful as they move forward and restrict their sellers, but it may be the lawsuit has to happen first before Amazon does the right thing here. They're diluting their value. They're diminishing customer confidence because Amazon says, well, you can always return it to us. If it's a scam, you can always return it to us. But that doesn't change the fact that the customer still feels burned. The customer still wasted time. The customer still has to go through the effort of doing the return. The customer still has to wait for the refund. The customer still goes without a product that they needed back when they ordered it, not days later after they've sent it back, gotten their refund, and now can make another purchase. Amazon needs to respect their customers' time, and they're not doing that right now. Furthermore, Amazon is allowing scam products to get returned over and over and over and still selling the product because Amazon thinks the sellers are the buyers rather, are the scammers. They think that it's a competitor potentially that's trying to shut down their competition. And this is Amazon's problem to sort out. It shouldn't be on the consumer to fix this for Amazon. So be very, very cautious in the tech segment of Amazon because there are a lot of fraudulent products and there are a lot of overpriced products taking advantage of people who don't know the value of something. And I just wanted to take a minute today before we review the Awow, which I feel was a good value if it's everything it says it is, because at the same time, there are good values to be had at Amazon. And we want to highlight our attention in time to these little known brands that may offer more value for the money versus the little known brands that are nothing more than shell companies designed to squeeze you for every last penny you have. I'm noticing I have a bit of a reflection here on the streamer. I accidentally bumped this and moved it. And yeah, I think I've made it worse now. Gotta go this way. That's better. Okay, gotta get the set looking good. All right, I want to look at the chat room here and see what I've been missing. There was an earlier contribution. I'm sorry, I meant to shout it out, but I'm going to take care of that now. That's Peter. There was one before Peter. Where did it go? Hold on, guys. I got to find it. Sarge Tech. Of course, it was Sarge Tech. Contributed $7 long before the show started and said, what a nice way to spend a Sunday afternoon with Carrie, Marlena, and friends. Live long and prosper. Right on. Well, thank you so much, Sarge Tech. Paul O'Brien contributes €2. He says, hello, Carrie. Thanks, Buster, for the generous offer. Thomas Yeager with $10 says, if you attach a mini PC to the back of a monitor, have you experienced any heat issues because of the heat from the monitor? Awesome channel as usual. So glad to be here. Usually monitors emit heat off of the top, not usually out of the back. Although I've never seen a mini PC attached to the back of a monitor. I know it can be done. I understand why it would be done, but never in my life have I ever encountered anybody who's ever done it. No customers have ever done it. No customers have asked me to do it. And I've never done it because I think it would be very inconvenient to have all the ports and buttons in the back. So just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. If you try it, if that's a question you're asking, maybe it's because you're considering mounting yours behind your monitor. You need to tell us about your experience so we can share that information with a bigger crowd. I can't test everything in every scenario, but you guys, when you express an interest in something, if you decide to move forward with it, we'd love to hear what your experience was, good or bad, and why. Joe Carrender says, hello, Carrie and Marlene and everyone in the chat. Welcome in, welcome in. And I'm getting some of the PCs ready to ship. Leslie Cavins received a computer already because that shipped directly from Amazon. And let's see, I had a few more ready. The one I was sending to William Dawson didn't even have Windows 22H2 on it. So I spent last night installing that. That took over an hour. Oh, speaking of that, Alan Lindas bought a mini PC, actually the second one he's bought, and he shared his experience by sending me an email, which you're all welcome to do. If you have an experience you want to share, I will be glad to share it with our audience here. Let me read his email aloud. Alan Lindas bought a Boz game, and I think the Boz game was a really good value here. He says, the shrink wrap box just arrived after your Friday's YouTube show ended, well within 24 hours of when Amazon said it was scheduled to arrive at our front door. I waited until late Sunday morning before plugging the thing in, and I'm glad I did. Unboxing and shaking the actual unit sounded like something was loose. Sure enough, one of the 4 mini motherboard screws around the edges was never installed. But it was inside, it was probably installed and it just wasn't tightened down, and through shipping it vibrated itself loose. I've seen that happen. Anyway, so he shook it, he heard something, he opened it, it was a screw, he saw where the screw went, and he tightened it back down. It was no big deal. He says it's the Ryzen 6600H that came with Windows 11 Pro, 22H2 was installed. The version he got was 2 sticks of 16 gig of crucial DDR5 memory and 512 gig of a Gen 4 NVMe SSD. It took around an hour to get Windows 11 Pro current with all of its updates installed, but still quite painless. He added the following apps: AMD drivers and support and Intel drivers and support. He installed CPU-Z. It shows the RAM is an unknown company, but still shows 16 gigs of DDR5 RAM. He put Malwarebytes on it, free, but he's going to add the real version within the next few days. Crystal disk mark numbers are pretty bad here. It shows 2781 on his reads and 1316 on his writes. That's not Gen 4. That's Gen 3 all day. Something's wrong there. It is a Kingston drive, but it should be doing, if it's a true Gen 4, which his screenshot of Crystal Disk Info shows it is a Gen 4, you should be getting pretty much twice what you're seeing on both the reads and the writes. Maybe not as much as twice because the Kingston's a low-end Gen 4, but something's not right with that. He says, so far it's working fine for one of my 2 old laptop replacements, though it's not as portable. Cold boot ups are well short of 20 seconds. Overall, I think it's a good value. It's a bit more flexible than the B-Link N95 I purchased a few months ago. $405 that he spent on this Boz game unit was well spent, he thinks. He says, if I left anything out you might recommend, please don't hesitate to let me know. Thank you, Carrie, for your insight in showing your followers something that's very much up and coming, the future. I can see that some companies very well can use these units in place of desktops and maybe in laptops for their office workers. Yes, for sure. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing your experience, Alan. And if you'd like to share your experience, you can email me. Let me know. Tell me your story, good or bad. We can take your experience. It's as valid as mine, and share that with everyone else. And then it helps people gauge what the right answer is for them if they're selecting, one of 1,000 different mini PCs to purchase. I also have a mini PC review channel where I'm taking all of these mini PC reviews and I'm putting them all on the Mini PC Reviews channel. So that's nothing but mini PCs. And that's why I'm trying to get like one of every brand, because I want it to be the most thorough, comprehensive mini PC channel. By the time it's done, people will look back at it and go, holy cow, to have a channel that does nothing but mini PC reviews, I'm not aware that that exists, and certainly not one that will have as many. So this channel is financing that channel, and that channel has very few subscribers. It'll be a long time before it's enabled for monetization to meet Amazon requirements, and I don't care. It's just a nice place to keep it all organized. So they're the same videos I'm doing here. I'm just reproducing them in 4K and then uploading them. And that's at Mini PC Reviews. Now, another shout out over to, speaking of Mini PC Reviews, there's a Mini PC Review channel, although he does more than, I think he does more than Mini PC Reviews. But it's called Rob Tech. And I think if you combine my channel reviews with Rob Tech's channel reviews, you get a nice, thorough overview if it's a unit we're both reviewing. Like he said, his favorite is this Chewy Larkbox X. I gotta disagree if that's his favorite. It's good, but I wouldn't call it my favorite. But that's what's good, right? His opinion is just as valid as mine. And he makes very good points, and he will do the, run some games for people that want to see how they run games, and he'll run the benchmarks. I don't want to waste time with that because, quite frankly, that's what everybody else does. So why do I need to repeat what already is being done? It's nonsense. But he had this video up here, top 5 budget mini PCs under $250. Bearing in mind, I believe he's in Australia, so he can't get a lot of the units we can get. He's funny, and he really, he's honed his craft on mini PCs. He knows what to look for, and I just want to give him a shout out. I think he deserves way more subscribers than he has. He's only at 42,000 subscribers. He should be at 442,000 subscribers by now. He's got 172 videos, and he's hilarious. And he does a great job reviewing mini PCs, even when he disagrees with me. That's all good. Yeah, see, he's doing monitors too. So he's not just doing mini PCs, but mostly mini PCs. And he's got that Australian sense of humor, which is, a little rough, which I love it. All right, yeah, there you go, the Intel Nook Destroyer. See, now I think we agree on this. This thing's awesome. But do compare, if you're considering buying any of these units, compare my review of said unit with his review and determine whose review is more in line with your values. Play us off each other. I'm all for it. So I was scrolling through Amazon because, as I mentioned, as we get back to things, Peter Laycock, Buster, he said, send Douglas a better computer than the giveaways we were going to do. And I said, okay, well, we have a budget to work with. What can we do? And I thought, what a great opportunity for me to review something I haven't reviewed before. And if it's a really good machine, we'll send that machine to Douglas. So what we're looking for is a mid-range computer. So mid-range would be $500 and below. Budget would be $200. I'd say $250 or below for budget. And then sort of high end for gaming, you're looking generally on the very low end at $700, upwards of $1,200, $1,300. And those are your 3 main categories as far as I'm concerned. That's the way I see it in my head. So feel free to disagree. It's not like it's a set thing. It's just, in my world, that's how I would separate them. So if you're looking at, I see Darren Gilholmes posted a link to Rob Tech's channel. I see Taze Jew has joined us. He says, through Rob Tech is where I found you. You made a comment on the top budget mini PCs. Yes, in fact, I bought, I guess we're going to talk about Rob Tech here for a minute. Going back over to Rob Tech's channels, his most recent video, top 5 budget, he moves along really good. He doesn't waffle on like I do. So That's always welcome. But at the end, I think it was at the end, he mentioned that if you were in the United States, he thought you couldn't do better than this deal here. TrigKey, which is a company we haven't reviewed yet, has this unit on Amazon in the USA for, it's like $339, and then there's a coupon for it. What is this? TrigKey, what's the model? TrigKey, I'll just type in TrigKey 55U. Let's do that. $5,500U. It was $339. It's got to be this one. Okay. The reason why he thinks this is the best deal for if you're in the US is there's $100 off, bringing this to $239. And I agree with him. Holy cow. For under $250, which is still putting you in the budget range as far as I'm concerned, you're getting a mid-range computer. Think about that for a minute. That's a Ryzen 5, 6-core, 12-thread, Windows 11 computer, goes up to 4 gigahertz with 16 gigs, not 8 gigs, and 500 gigs storage, not 256. I would expect the 256 and the 8 gig under $300 for a mid-range processor like this. So that is a heck of a deal. Is it any good? I don't know. I just received it in the mail today. Amazon just delivered it. And I might wait before I send a unit to Douglas to compare the Awow to the TrigKey, because if what RobTech says is something I agree with, and in fact the TrigKey is the better unit, I will send Douglas which of these two units is better. And it just literally arrived about an hour ago. I'm going to go step away here and grab it. It's called the Speed S, or the S Speed. I guess it depends which side of the box. And if you look right here, this is the box that arrives. And you see I haven't opened it or anything. It says S Speed there, and it says Speed S there. I'm not sure. But yeah, the specs. It's Wi-Fi 6, which is good. I would expect Wi-Fi 5 at that price. So that is a mid-range PC for a budget PC price. If it's everything RobTech says it is, then I will agree with him that that's a good value. I don't necessarily agree with some of his other choices. However, I respect them, just so we're clear. You don't agree with me, so I don't like you. No, that's not how we do it here. He has a different value system than I have. The things that are important to him are different than what are important to me. That's it. So as a result, things that we think are good based on what are important categories or criteria differ between us. That's a good thing. And it may be because I'm old compared to RobTech. Got an old man's attitude. Actually, I think RobTech has an old man's attitude. All right. All the love to RobTech. Please subscribe to him if you enjoy the mini PC reviews. I really believe his reviews complement my reviews when we review the same thing. And he's going to give you the information I'm not giving you. If you want those benchmarks, you want to see gaming frame rates, check him out. And then when you want to know what it's actually like technically, check me out, because I'm going to follow a lot more of the technical stuff. I'm going to get into the nitty gritty of the speed of the NVMe drive, the heat of it, not that he doesn't. I think I go more in depth, but sometimes he goes more in depth than me, and sometimes I go more in depth than him. Okay. Oh, Douglas is there. Yeah, so Douglas and Peter don't even know anything. He says, yeah, can you imagine? Peter's in Scotland. Douglas is in somewhere in the US. Peter's like, get Douglas a better computer than those HP giveaways. Okay, let's take a look. We're going to unbox. Where's my camera girl? I think I need a camera girl here to do the close-ups. I've given all the props and shout-outs to TNT Amusements and to RobTech. I'm a fan of both of those channels, and I hope you will be too. Give them a shot.
Did a spreadsheet.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Gonna keep it all straight?
Yes.
I still have 1, 2, 3. I got 3 more giveaways I have to go through and update. And how many did I get done yesterday? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 5 done. And then I got those 2 ordered that were new from Amazon that went out. One to Leslie Cavins and the other one went to, who did the other one go to? The new one. Yeah, who did that go to?
That went to 2.
Yeah, Leslie Cavins.
Leslie Cabins.
Go check real quick. And then we'll get the close-up camera going because I want to give a shout out one more time. And it says Momu upside down. It's a Momu. Good catch, Bob. And Ron Barnish, yeah, Ron Barnish. Oh, it was Bikeman.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bikeman was getting the other. I don't think we got a delivery date for that. I think it just kind of gave us a big window for some reason, which I don't. You know what? Let me see. I think Bikeman's in the chat room here. Let me see what Amazon says. We were discussing when I ship something to you guys from Amazon, Amazon takes a picture of the delivery and they send the delivery confirmation to me. So I see the front of your house. And Mara was like, oh, I don't think that's very good at all. And I'm like, yeah, well, I could pull up Google Street Maps and see the front of anybody's house. Yeah, but you can't see the front door like that. I'm like, yeah, you kind of can. But that doesn't guarantee that somebody hasn't stolen your package. So I always ask when you guys receive a package from me, whether you bought it or whether it was a gift, it sure would be nice if you would tell me and confirm that you received it. Because I have anxiety. I'm like, did he get it? Did he get it? You know, Amazon often just leaves the package out for anybody to steal. I don't know what kind of neighborhood. I just get pictures of you know, sort of the front door area. I don't know what's around your property. I don't know if it could be in an apartment complex for all I can tell. So do please confirm with me, send me an email when you receive what was sent. And just let me know you got it. Then I can sleep easier at night, not worrying about you. Sarge Tech says, not mine, my house is blurred out. Yeah, but if I mail you something from Amazon, the driver, you know, takes a picture and then sends that picture to the sender. Then I'll see the front of your house. And Darren Gilholm posts a link for TNT Amusements as well. Right on. Yeah, so Ron Barnish also was going to bat for Douglas. Douglas has got some friends here. Friends in power. I was going to look at, why is my thumbnail not reading? Did I cut myself? My thumbprint is not working. Let me pull up Amazon. I just want to look up when Bikeman's delivery is scheduled. Your orders. Oh, tomorrow. It's Bikeman, it's coming tomorrow. Oh, he's in Michigan. Doesn't give us a time yet, but at some point tomorrow. And of course, what'll happen is Amazon will send me confirmation when they've delivered it. And if I get that confirmation right away, immediately send an email to the person who's supposed to have received it and say, hey, it looks like Amazon delivered your package, because I'll have a picture of it at your front door. And I just want you to say, yes, I got it, or, you know, no, I didn't get it. And that's usually how this works. Now, when I send packages out to you guys by going to the post office or FedEx, I have to go by tracking info only. And that makes me even more nervous because I don't know if it's been delivered to the wrong address. So again, that confirmation is greatly appreciated that you guys let me know. You don't have to say thank you. You don't have to do anything other than just say, I got it. I can relax because we got a lot of units going out and that's a lot of anxiety for me. The only thing that reduces the anxiety is they're only worth about $200 a piece, but we still have $2,000. Well, and with Peter's generosity, we've got about $2,300 worth of computers going out. So, you know, each one I can remove off my anxiety list. I hope. Bikeman says, yep, Trenton, Michigan, I'll be checking constantly. Yeah, you never know. I mean, Amazon could deliver it in the morning, the afternoon, or in the evening. If I get an update from Amazon with a time window, I'll forward it to you. All right. Okay, so you ready?
Yeah, ready.
All right, we're going to go over to the close-up camera. Come on over. let's focus down at the box. Here's what the box looks like, the AMG10. And again, this is a good mid-range computer as far as specifications go. As to what kind of quality it is, I just don't know yet. RobTech has gone through the effort of determining who the manufacturers actually are. These are just basically rebranded machines. I don't know how he figured that out, but maybe he'll share a secret with me. Let's open this up, see how it's packed. We get some wax paper. Tips. Please use the correct power supply. How many times have we talked about that? So did they put their name on the power supply? Probably not. Please do not cut off power during the first setting. Yeah, you don't want to shut the computer down during the initial setup process. At least not unexpectedly, not when it's in the middle of doing something. If you get an accidental power failure during the first setting, you may encounter the existed user name problem, default user. Please just reset the system to restore normal state. The Windows license key is built in the device. Usually it'll be activated automatically. Sometimes the activation key may not be implemented successfully by the network service problems. Please just click the troubleshooting in the activation interface to try again. If you want to use the offline account to set up Windows during the first settings, please do not connect the internet. Okay. And then there's information about the company. Alwalto Technology. Oh, it's in the Jumfly building, of course. I don't know what that means. All right, so we just have foam on the bottom. I guess they don't care about the top of it. This is pretty typical how we're seeing it packaged here. There is our our Awow. Remember, you always have to protect the company name so that it doesn't get scratched or nicked in shipping. The rest of the unit doesn't matter, as long as the company name is shiny. Oh, we got lots of stickers. We know that, and it's going to make it go faster. Oh, HDMI Premium. That's better than regular HDMI. On the bottom, I can see a fan and the model number. 19 volts input, 3.42 amps. Well, that's nice. They put that on the back to match the power adapter, which I'm assuming doesn't have their name on it. They rarely ever do. On the back, there's our two LAN ports, our barrel power connector over here. We've got two USB 2s. Those look like USB 2s to me. And we've got a display port and HDMI port. Up on the front, nothing on the sides, by the way. On the front, there's our two USB 3 ports, as well as a Type-C that will support video out. That's how we're getting to triple display. If you want to do 3 monitors at the same time, this would be used for a monitor. A headset jack, that's for your microphone and headphone, and then power button. And then what appears to be, okay, this is one of two things. This is either a little recessed button to reset the BIOS, or this is an LED. I can't tell until we turn it on. If it lights up, then we know it's an LED. Usually, if it's a reset button, it'll have some kind of icon over it. So I hope it's an LED, because otherwise, how else will you know when it's on? All right, looking back at the box, what else do we get here? We've got a quick start guide that's well hidden. And we don't need any of that. We've got some screws, which are they maybe for an internal 2.5-inch SATA drive, maybe. We've got desiccant.
Don't eat that. Don't eat that. Don't eat it. Oh, gross. Take it out.
Tastes a bit dry.
Yeah.
Needs,
I wonder why.
Needs salt.
Yeah.
Here, you want that?
No.
I licked it. It's mine. All right. And let's go over here. And this is the final part of the unboxing. We've got an HDMI cable. Looks like a standard 5 or 6 foot length HDMI cable, which I don't use. And we've got the power adapter, which of course does not have the company name on it, right? They never ever do. I'm telling you guys, this is the time to get a marker or something or a label maker and write down what the power adapter's for. Over time, we get a lot of these for alarm clocks, or any electronic thing now takes these. They're very common. Cell phone charger even can take one of these for like the wireless chargers often have plugs like this, which is ironic. You'd think they'd all be USB-C at this point. And if it were USB-C, you wouldn't have this problem. But because it's a barrel connector, it could be literally any voltage, any amperage, and any polarity. And you could very easily blow up the device, literally blow it up, smoke it by plugging the wrong power adapter in. That's why on their little guide here, the first thing they say is don't plug in the wrong adapter. It can be catastrophic. A lot of people think, well, you know, the barrel plug fits in there, so it must be, no. Does not work that way. And because of that, should these two ever get separated, how would you know with confidence this is the right one? I would look to see the voltage output and look to see the polarity, and then I would look for some indication on the unit itself just to verify, even if I don't have the right adapter, that at least I have one that won't blow it up. Okay, so I think where these companies are falling short right now is just not a simple label on the power adapter. That's on you to do that. Douglas says, Carrie, I will confirm when I get it. All right, Douglas, thank you. I don't know which one we're going to send to you yet. Do you like this one, Douglas? Let's see if it's any good. Let's plug power in.
Is that Douglas Herschel?
Yep, Burchell.
So you said HP.
Yeah, but then Peter emailed some money and said, get Douglas something better than that.
Okay.
So what am I going to do? Tell Peter no?
No. Of course not.
Peter likes me to work. It's like, you think you were done, Carrie? I don't think so. Back to work. No, Peter's so generous. I'm just teasing. He's a super nice guy. All right. Let's see. Keyboard and a mouse. Just plug that into one of the USB 2 ports. Oh, I can feel air coming out. This is obviously turned on. Okay, so that must be a reset because our power LED is behind the switch. So because it's powered up, remember it says don't unplug it during first setup? No. I don't have much choice in that. Let me step around and we'll get the HDMI capture card plugged in here. We only have one HDMI port. We have one display port. Like I said, you can go on Amazon, you can get a USB-C to HDMI, or I think you can go DisplayPort out of that too if you wanted to. All right, now I will plug it back in. We're going to leave the internet not plugged in. You see it just came right on. That's not good. It should not be doing that, but I'm not too worried about it. Sometimes that happens. Let's go over to HDMI input. Okay, camera girl, you are clear. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Excellent camera work as always. There's the Awow host screen. Douglas Burchell says, I'm ready. Greg says, do I qualify for one? Well, we're not doing the giveaway, but during a giveaway, if you qualify, I mention what the qualification is during the giveaway. So if you want to watch Friday's video, you get an idea of how all that works. All right, so right now, I've got no video at all, which I was hoping for more than that. Oh, I'm using the wrong mouse over here. Let's see. Let me find camera 1. There I am. And then I'm going to put camera 1 in a corner so you can see me and the computer. We are not off to a good start here. Now, as you can imagine, oh, it's just taking a minute. As you can imagine, as a PC technician, this doesn't worry me. Most people are not PC technicians, and that's a good thing because then there'd be a lot more competition and I'd probably be out of business. But be patient with a new computer when you're turning it on. Don't freak out because it instantly didn't turn on. It's likely going to take longer during its first boot than any other boot during the entire course of ownership. So I was a little concerned we had a black screen up there for some time, but be patient, give it a couple of minutes. If after a few minutes it's still a black screen, Give it a couple more minutes. If 5 minutes goes by and the screen is just black, unplug it, wait a minute, plug it back in, try it again. Don't freak out. I don't know where freaking out really helps people. If anything was going wrong during a heart surgery, I would not want my heart surgeon to freak out about it. Would you? All right. So lead by example. Relax. It's just a computer. I guess while we're waiting, if you enjoy the content, well, please hit the thumbs up to let me know that you enjoy the content. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Hit the bell icon to turn on notifications so you'll be made aware of every time we go live. Outside of the notifications, you should know that we always go live every Monday at 1 o'clock Pacific time for members only, people who pay $9.99 a month to support this channel. It's through the memberships and through the contributions and generosity of people like Peter Laycock, for example, that made today's video possible. This video would not be happening today, or maybe never, if Peter Laycock didn't say, get Douglas a better computer and throw some money at it. So that forced me to, didn't force me, but you know what I'm saying. It created a new opportunity to go shopping on Amazon and for new content that I had no plans to make because all this content costs money. And through that, I try and make the most of it. So I'm not making commercials. A lot of people, all they want to do is watch commercials. They get mad. I've actually had people click on my video and leave a comment where they're upset that the video went on too long, that it didn't get, they're so manipulated into watching advertisements that they actually get upset when they're not being shown an advertisement. I love the internet. All right, let's see. Michael Dane says, Carrie, computer techs never go out of business. There's too many know-it-all out there to screw it up every time. Turnaround and needs are help at a cost. Well, that's true. I have made a lot of money from people with the best of intentions. How many times did I say that people with the best of intentions have paid for my car? Remember the Mustang I used to own? Best car I ever owned. Paid for by people with the best of intentions. Seriously. Of course, that's been traded in now. Not because it was a bad car, but it was getting old, and I didn't want to wait until it became a bad car. I got rid of it while it was still good. I had it for 8 years, and it never needed a single repair in 8 years. It's a first. All right, let's get through the setup here, and we'll go through this the standard way. Scroll to my HDMI input, because my window is very small here. I want to see it the way you guys at home see it. So bear with me for a second. I wish OBS had a hotkey to go full screen projector, but it doesn't appear that you can assign one, and they haven't offered one. Okay, so we want English. United States. US keyboard, no secondary language on the keyboard, except a license agreement. Now here's where it's going to want to get us online. And hey, thank goodness it's not forcing us to have a network connection. That means the account we're going to create right now is an offline account. We'll just call it user and leave the password blank. And I turn off everything but location settings, and that's going to automatically adjust the date and time, including if this is a unit that goes to Douglas or wherever it ends up. When it gets plugged into the internet, it will automatically adjust the time zone and the time and date. Tizgy wants to know, is there a security concern with these minis with pre-installed Windows? No, because you're going through the same out-of-box experience as you would with any system integrator, right? If you bought a Dell or an HP, this is exactly the same. But brands, I think like Chewy and was it Morphine, their machines go right up to the desktop, bypassing the entire out-of-box experience. And those would be the ones that I have concern about. But no, if you're going through the out-of-box experience like I just showed, that is normal and standard and what you should expect. If you're getting a brand new computer unless it's coming from me, because I do this for my customers and I'm a trusted source. Okay. So you don't have to do any of this. I do it all for you. And I understand that may be what More Fine and Chewy are trying to do as well. It makes me a little nervous. So it's a good question, a valid question. But so far, I haven't seen or witnessed any malware or viruses. And it's no big deal to get a free version of Malwarebytes and scan the computer just to put yourself peace of mind. But they're not throwing on any third-party stuff. All you're getting is what comes with Windows. Have I spoken too soon? What is this icon right up here? What does that say? I can't see it. I have to physically walk up to my monitor. So they have added an icon, what appears to be to their website. I think that's just a shortcut to a website. Right click. And that's fine. It's because it's coming through the out-of-box experience, Microsoft allows for that configuration. Ah, that's an executable file. Well, that makes me a little nervous. Let's click it. We're not connected to the internet. If it's anything bad, it ain't going anywhere. No, that looks legit. That looks like a remote service request. I've never seen a mini PC manufacturer offer that. That's not a negative thing. That's a good thing. Now I can plug it into the internet because we're at the desktop. We've gotten past the initial setup. And let me plug in the internet. In you go. And let me step back around. I always want to go through one round of Windows updates before checking your product activation. Because Windows needs to get online first and communicate with the activation servers. And it can do that at the same time of doing updates. So I'll go over here to settings, over to the bottom left, Windows Update. And we'll check for updates. Now, while we're waiting, oh, wait a minute, we haven't got, there it goes. Just down here, it just finally got an IP address from my router. Now it's online for the very first time. And while we're waiting, let me just take a look in the device manager. We can do multiple things at the same time. We want to make sure we don't have any undefined devices. Everything looks good. There's our security device. That's how we know it's Windows 11 compatible, is we have, this is where your trusted platform module is going to be listed. If you don't have security devices listed in your device manager, then you do not have a Windows compatible computer. And while people are getting updates on their Windows 11 computers that are not compatible, Microsoft has vowed that updates may be cut off at any time for non-compatible machines. They haven't pulled the trigger on that. Maybe they never will, but they said to expect it. So just because it's working today, people are like, hey, I put Windows 11 on my non-compatible computer. It's 10 years old. It works great. And it even runs faster than it did with Windows 7. So don't listen to those idiots out there fear-mongering about not putting Windows 11 on a non-compatible computer. They're idiots. Well, that person is doing a massive disservice to their audience by not fully disclosing that Microsoft has stated that while updates are coming out for non-compatible devices running Windows 11, they do plan on stopping those updates for non-compatible devices in the future. Okay? Whether they will or not, they've made their intentions clear, so you can't cry victim or cry foul when your machine stops getting updates. Maybe you don't even notice, and then you get hacked by an exploit that Microsoft patched for compatible computers only. And now what's damaged is damaged, right? Can't unburn what the fire burned. So understand the risks you're taking. Planet Cryos contributes $5. He says he's late to the party. How is everyone? Happy birthday again, Carrie. Well, thank you, Planet Cryos. It's still my birthday weekend. It's going to be my birthday month, the rest of the month. Yeah, we're going to make it celebrate a month-long holiday. Actually, it's only from my birthday to the end of the month is only 7 days. So we'll have a birthday week. Paul O'Brien mentioned serve the home. That's kind of random and out of nowhere. I enjoy Patrick over at Serve the Home. He's based out of Texas, I believe. That's more of the business end of things, but he'll do some mini PCs, and they buy all their equipment for the most part with their users like me, like this channel, subscribing and contributing so that he can go out and buy equipment that he thinks will make for good content for his audience. But I am subscribed to Serve the Home, STH, and Patrick, I think Patrick Kennedy is his name. Anyway, Patrick's very knowledgeable. He's more coming from the corporate side of things. So you're going to see a lot of corporate, server types solutions and server corporate style network switches and network gear. But he also touches on some of the home stuff as well, such as the just got a GTR 7 he's reviewing. Bajin Guy says, Carrie, I took your advice. I bought an extra 16 gigs for my desktop and I will install them tomorrow. Right on. Paul O'Brien said he watched Serve the Home. He reviewed the GTR 7. He showed that a setting in the capture software you use would solve. Did he show that? I don't recall seeing that. Maybe I walked out of the room or was distracted by a squirrel. Thank you for letting me know. Hopefully I'll remember to go back, or if you have a link you could send me with a timestamp that takes me to the point in the video, I would appreciate it. John Paul Bacon said his birthday is only 2 days before the end of the year. As you said, he'd probably wipe the SSD and download Windows 11 and install it clean just to be sure. Make sure you're going to get the drivers, though, because some manufacturers don't make the drivers available, and then you're going to be up a creek trying to figure out what some of the unidentified hardware is. Now, one thing you could do is take the drive out and replace it with a different drive. So upgrade your drive and then put Windows 11 clean and then point it to the old drive in a USB enclosure to the Windows System 32 directory to pull in all your missing drivers, and you don't even have to know what they are. Or you can run a command. There's a command line you can run to export all of your current drivers. You don't need a piece of software to do this. It's a command line. And then you can extract all the drivers, copy them onto a flash drive, and then do your reinstall. Or check out Awow's website and see if they have the drivers available before you begin, because that might be a project that you are doing pointlessly. If all you're doing is resetting it back to the way it already is, then that's a psychological issue. Okay, so if that's what you need to solve the psychological concern, is to do it yourself just to know, be prepared before you start that project, because some manufacturers don't have their drivers available. And then that requires research to figure out who makes this, who actually is the manufacturer, who else makes it, who you could potentially take the drivers from. That screen blanking out is a video driver installing. Bob R says DISM. Is it the DISM command, Bob? Over on the laptop over here, if you go to my desktop, I think it's over here. Minimize that. And is there a... No, it's not on here, is it? I have a little text file about how to export the drivers. I basically wrote it down. It's a single command line. I think I left it on one of the mini PCs I was getting ready to reinstall Windows on, and I wanted to export the drivers first. But while we're doing this, we could probably do a quick Google search for it. Let's see, check. Start without. Check. Continue. Next, finish. Now let's try export Windows 11 drivers. Yeah, here we go. That was hard to find, huh? That took 3 seconds for me to... It took me less to type that in and look than to walk into the other room to realize it wasn't there. It is the DISM tool. It is correct, Bob. And this is the command right here. And obviously the destination would be what you choose the destination to be. So you don't need any software to do this. Once you've got the drivers exported, then just going into the device manager and clicking to update the driver, it'll say, do you want to look automatically or do you want to browse for it? You'd hit the browse button and point it to the location of where you put all these INF files. That's all you have to do. You don't have to run setup or do any decompressing or anything. It makes it super, super easy. Yeah, it is the DISM tool. Well, see how bright people in our community are? Knew that right off the top of his head. I didn't know that off the top of my head because I haven't really needed to use it ever. I've always been able to find the drivers I need for the traditional builds that we do here, from motherboards made by Gigabyte, Asus, ASRock, and MSI. They always have the drivers, but with these mini PCs, it's a different world. So appreciate you, my friend, and yeah, there you go. How are we doing here? We're installing this big cumulative update. Matthew Burton said, I learned something new every day. I never knew you could do that. Oh, absolutely, yeah. So sometimes people write software to do it for you and they put a pretty user interface, graphical user interface, GUI. We pronounce that as GUI. They go, oh, you should buy our shareware driver updater backup driver backer upper. They're such a ripoff. You can do this yourself. Knowledge is power, my friend. Knowledge is freedom. You don't have to be a slave to technology or be swindled into buying something you could easily do yourself. Now, just because you can do it yourself, maybe you just don't want to, hey, then you can pay. I got no sympathy for you. You don't want to, you can't be bothered. You want to pay for the software to do it, and you're going to trust the software does it right. Have fun, my friend. For those of us who were brought up as teenagers in the 1980s, broke, living paycheck to paycheck, just trying to eat the bare necessities to keep life livable, it can have this effect as you get older to want to, make sure you get every last bit of toothpaste out of the toothpaste tube. Even though I can easily afford a new tube of toothpaste, it's so ingrained into who I am. Throwing away food or throwing away something that isn't used, it cracks me up because Mara will say, oh, I bought this snack. I've got it over here, as a matter of fact. This will crack you up. This is how deep this goes. I was looking for like Chex Mix, but I don't really care for Chex Mix. They used to make a product called Doodads back in the day. But I was in the mood for something like Chex Mix. So Kroger had this store brand Crunch Mix, a traditional flavor, which, claims to have the pretzel sticks and the corn squares and the wheat squares and the breadsticks and the little rye chips in it. And it's not good. So Mara says, why are you eating that if it's not good? I don't want to waste it. It's not disgusting. It's not that it grosses me out and I have to force myself to choke it down. It's just not what I was hoping it was going to be. I wish it had peanuts in there, and I wish the flavor was a little more Worcester. I wish there was a little more of that Worcestershire sauce in there. And I wanted to try it. You never know. Sometimes the store brands can be delicious and other times they're rancid. This isn't either. It's just right down the middle. It's kind of meh. And so every time I dig into it and I eat it, I remind her, these aren't good. And she just laughs. She goes, why are you eating it? Well, I can't throw it away. We would have thrown it away after the first bite. But she also had a job where she made 6 figures a year. I've never had a job where I made 6 figures a year. And being raised, as an average lower middle class family, I think, try and get the most out of everything and make it last as long as possible. David Ice says, I wish they would bring back the peanut lovers in Chex Mix. I wish they'd bring back Doodads. I live off junk food, so. Sarge Tech has posted a link from ghacks.net, which I'm guessing is a link about backing up the drivers with the command line utility. We're still installing. We're at 69%. As soon as this finishes, we will restart. I like this to finish first. Even though we could restart it right now, I'd prefer to let the computer finish. Luke Greenia says, the first thing I did when I got the Ace Magician mini PC from you is make a drive image to a 16 gig USB flash drive. That's a great idea. You know, with a program like Acronis, even Windows Backup, I think will make an image. These images are usually, or rather the amount of data that's on these with just Windows and nothing else, whether it's Windows 10 or 11, is typically under 40 gigs. And in some cases, well, I mean, he says he backed his up to a 16 gig flash drive. I'm surprised that was enough to hold everything. Ron Barnish says, I think we should add Buster to the man list. I think Buster deserves his own title. I don't think he needs to share a title. He deserves his own title. Buster is practically the producer of these shows. He's sort of like a silent investor. They call those angel investors. Although Peter hasn't gotten much in return for his investment, I still owe him the train PC. I really do need to get it done. I know I keep saying it. And every time he contributes, it's just another reminder he's done something else for you, Carrie, and you haven't done what you said you were going to do for him. And then I feel awful about it. So it'll get done. Shane Perkins says, doing a search for an unknown device by vendor code and device ID through Device Manager could help identify a component if you're a nerd and you understand any of what he just said. That is true. But for most average, ordinary individuals that have a computer, who my videos are intended for, that's a little over the top. It's a lot to ask of an average user to do. It'd be a whole lot easier and a whole lot faster for you to just make the backup of the drivers before you begin. That's way simpler. It doesn't require that kind of research and knowledge. But hey, some people enjoy that kind of treasure hunt, and don't let me get in your way if that's what you want to do. All right, we're done here, so we're going to restart. When we restart, we'll check our version of Windows. We'll make sure Windows is activated. Of course, we're going to look again for updates. And I guess we can open it up and see what it looks like on the inside, but I don't think there's anything for us to upgrade. It's pretty well can't find the word for it. The amount of RAM and the amount of storage is not short. Like it's equipped well. It's not great, but it's certainly a lot better than what you would get from a budget machine at this price point. A lot better, at least as far as specifications go. Processor's faster, has more threads, more cores. I don't think it's going to be dual channel in there. It looked like it only had one RAM socket, but we'll open it up and check that. There's a reason to open it. And then we'll verify it is a full 2280 NVMe drive in there. Jim KJ3N said that should be more than adequate for 90% of home users. Yeah, I agree. The people it wouldn't be adequate for would be people doing something very resource intensive. Like you could do video editing and photo editing on this. It would be a little bit slow, but it would do it. You could certainly use this as a remote work from home computer, you know, if you're remoting into work. It's probably more power than most of your coworkers have at home that they're remoting into work from. And, you know, for browsing the web, streaming Netflix or YouTube to your television. It's way more than powerful enough for that. Ooh, excuse me. Will I tap into the BIOS? Yeah, we can look in the BIOS. I really don't think these machines are designed for people who are the kind of people to go into a BIOS, right? It's sort of like buying a Dell or an HP. another system integrated pre-built machine and thinking, hey, let's look in the BIOS and see what we can modify. In most cases, you should assume it's not intended for you to modify, that most of the main settings will be removed. Sometimes some of the mini PC manufacturers enable you to make changes to the TDP and things like that. I don't recommend it. They are set with the configuration that they know works well for the best longevity and best reliability. And any risks that you change by going into the BIOS are going to only inconvenience you. And any damage that you could cause in doing so it's all your fault because you got in there. So we'll take a look at it, but I would suggest that if you're the kind of person that likes to do that sort of thing, then these mini PCs, any pre-built, quite frankly, is not for you. You're the kind of person that should build your own. Just so you know what to expect. Most of the time, there are not going to be any adjustments that are that big of a deal on most pre-built computers. Most, not all, most. Paul O'Brien says, Carrie, I sent you an email with a picture and rough timestamp for you to look at. Okay, let's take a look. Since we're waiting here for this to install. Ah, yes, I see. The OBS setting. This is in reference to the OBS setting that thinks that can help us with, that doesn't make any sense. What you're showing me are the recording settings. So in OBS, you've got inputs and you've got outputs. And on your output, you've got your output for what you want to send out streaming and what you want to record locally. They're two different settings. So in OBS, you have all of these different tabs in your settings area. And the one that says output only affects what's going out of OBS, not what's coming into it, just so you know. What you're showing me on that screenshot is a recording setting. It appears to be something on the input side of things, not on the output, that's causing our problem. So I don't believe that will make a lick of difference. Until I actually try it, you know, I wouldn't not try it by talking myself out of it, by saying, well, that doesn't make any sense, because it doesn't make any sense anyway. So it makes sense that the solution may not make sense. But in my opinion, the output of OBS, and specifically what you're showing me there, are the recording settings, and the streaming settings are strictly what the data signals being sent to YouTube, and the data signal being recorded to the hard drive. The internal storage has nothing to do with what's being sent out to the monitor or display. And nor does it say anything about the input, because the problem is the input, not the output. So I appreciate the thought. Unless there was something else Patrick mentioned outside of that. But if he's in OBS and he's in that part of the video that you've timestamped, and he's doing more than just what you've shown, then I'll be sure and check it out. All right, let's make sure that we have Windows activated here. Oh, and we want to get rid of this stupid icon here. So I will type in search permissions. I don't even have to type the whole thing. Search per in Windows 11. And then we scroll all the way down to the last thing here. It says more settings. That's the search highlights. This would be a search highlight, the little picture that's down here. So we turn that off and a little picture down here goes away. That's how you get rid of that annoyance. A lot easier in Windows 10. You just right click on the taskbar and choose the search options. But all right, let's go to see all of this stuff. This is all standard stuff with Windows 11, and it's not really bloatware. This is just shortcuts to these services. That's why they uninstall as fast as I can click them, because there's really nothing there. It's just a shortcut. Now that's an actual app we can uninstall. Install. That one we can uninstall. And this is true. This is just Windows 11 doing this, not the system integrator. This Office is not, this is just trying to get you to buy Office. Yeah. And I don't want LinkedIn. And these are all things the end user can add later if it's something they want. They're all free to download. All right. Right click and go to system right here. And let's just verify. 16 gigs of RAM, yes. 15.4 is usable because 0.6 of that's being used for our integrated graphics. Windows 11 Pro is 22H2, thank goodness. We have support information here, which again, you will lose this information if you reinstall Windows 11 from scratch rather than using the built-in recovery. If you use the built-in recovery, then this information is retained. You might want this information. Click on online support, and it takes us to their website here. And it looks like they make more than just mini PCs. Oh, we got to enter our email and spin the wheel for a discount. No, thanks. I just want to take a look here. They've got laptops and mini PCs. Looks like they've got PC on a stick here. Tablets. All right, a pretty big company, and it looks like they've been featured on ZDNet. Forbes. Oh, that's interesting. They're in 143 countries. Holy cow. And they've been around for 10 years? I never heard of them. So good. Coupon Center. I would still recommend buying from Amazon for peace of mind to return. Oh, now we're back to that. For peace of mind in case you want to return it if you don't like it for any reason. All right. Oh, I was going to check if we were activated. Forgot. System. The way I do that, I just go up here, I type in activation, just start typing it, see if Windows is activated, appears as an option, and we are active. So let's go back to Windows Update one more time. Settings, Windows Update, check for updates, and we'll turn that on. Paul Howe says product key info is on the same page as info for CPU. No, it isn't. That is not a product key. And I've seen a lot of people on the internet not understand the difference. This is a very common misunderstanding from end users. But if you look at what it actually says, it's called a, well, here they're calling it OS build. I've seen it where it's got what they call a product, it's not a product key. It's a product, starts with the word product. And it's got like a code like this. And people think that's a product key, but it's just a product code. Oh, device ID. This is the device ID and the product ID. There they are. These are not product keys. There's nothing proprietary. You could have, in theory, the exact same product ID on your computer, just so you know. That is not a key. It's an ID. I cannot open the door with my ID. I can open the door with my key. We give them different names because they are different things. Okay, just to clarify any further miscomprehension of the information you're seeing on the screen. Okay, check for updates. Planet Kraus with $5 super chat says, I think you have now reviewed all the mini PCs that are out there, but I'm sure there are more. Prime Day is coming up July 11th and 12th, everyone. This is true. I will, I'm still got some other PCs like Tipton and Trig Key. Like I said, I haven't done anything from Trig Key, Blackview, Wowie. Yeah, there's a lot of different manufacturers we have yet to explore. Let's restart this again. Mega Nuclear Disaster says, under Windows updates, do you usually turn on optional updates? I don't think that's something you turn on. I think it's something you check. And yes, I absolutely do check for Windows optional updates, which I have failed to do. But this would be about the stage that I would do that. I get all my main updates first. Once the main updates are done, or if I'm waiting and I have nothing else to do, while the main updates are installing, You can at the same time go look at the optional updates and add them to the queue if there are any that you want, or if there are any that are available. Let's do that now. Appreciate you bringing that up. Let's go to Start button and over to Settings again. Back over to Windows Update. So this is a lot easier in Windows 10. They really make you work for it in Windows 11. Under Advanced Options, you look under Receive Updates for other Microsoft products. That would be like Microsoft Office. So if you're running Microsoft Office, like Microsoft Word, and you've never updated it, you probably are missing a ton of updates. So you would load up Word or Excel or PowerPoint, go to File, and under Account, there should be Update Now. Hit that button, and you might be a while if you've never done that before. It's highly recommended. Right down here, it says Optional Updates. You see, Microsoft has really hidden this. You wouldn't know it was there, and they don't really advise you to check it on the main update site. It says there are 2 available right here. And let's see, we have to hit the down arrow. Once again, they're doing a very good job at hiding these things. One is a monitor update, which is weird because this is a Samsung monitor, not a Dell monitor, but whatever. In fact, it shouldn't even detect that. It's plugged into a capture card made by Magewell. Wyatt thinks it's Dell. It isn't going to hurt anything. We'll grab it. And then the Bluetooth driver from Intel has an update. Those will be small drivers, so they only take a second. But yes. And we will just check for updates. We should be good on updates. Let me look at Crystal Disk Mark, and let's see what kind of performance we're getting out of the included NVMe drive. They never give you a top range NVMe drive on these. If you went to somebody who, there are I don't want to say manufacturers, there are sellers who specialize like in selling Intel NUCs, and they'll build it however you want it built. And of course, they charge a bit more for that because you have to pay for the additional parts that you want added, but you have the benefit of adding higher performance parts. And then of course, you've got to pay for the labor. But the benefit is you don't have to do it yourself. They do it for you. It's all bundled into the price the way you want it. And when you get it, you just plug it in and start using it. But I haven't seen that offered on any of these lesser known brands. It's usually, what was the name of that site that does that? Geek Nook? There's another one. There's 2 of them. I know RobTech worked with them as well. They just sell Intel NUCs. Okay, we're good on updates. So now let's go to USB drive D, and we're going to go to testing software, Crystal Disk Mark, and we'll copy over CPU Z. I also want VLC because I will install that. Just copy that over. And of course, I want Uncle Kerry's Windows 10 optimization tool, which isn't really designed for Windows 11. I'm not really sure how much it helps Windows 11, but I know it doesn't hurt it. That's the most important thing. Do no harm, cause no harm. Let's run Crystal Disk Mark Portable. Oh, and let's get the flash drive unplugged because I don't want to accidentally run Crystal Disk Mark on that and be outraged at how slow my data is. Wouldn't be the first time. All right, Disk Mark 64. Yes, this is the portable version. You'll see I'm not installing the software. Drive C. All right, let's see what kind of numbers we get here. If you're at a Gen 4, if a device is being advertised as including a Gen 4 solid state drive, then at a very minimum, you want to see around 4,000. At 3,500, which just came up, that's Gen 3 speeds. A Samsung 970 EVO NVMe drive that sells for $99 on Amazon right now for 2 terabytes will go faster than this Gen 4 drive. So, well, it is Gen 4. Technically, in reality, it's actually closer to Gen 3 in performance. Gen 4 should be able to go 7,300 megabytes per second on the reads. So this is running at half the potential of Gen 4. Just so you know. Taiju says, I like the K-Lite codec pack instead of VLC. Yeah, I used to like the K-Lite codec pack because it made me a ton of money from customers who installed it and got infected with the nastiest viruses I've ever seen come from codecs. So with VLC, you don't deal with any codecs. It's a safer application. It's open source, and it just works. In fact, if you're trying to play a file that VLC won't play, I suggest you delete that file and find a different source for that file. The absolute worst, I want to emphasize, worst, nastiest viruses my customers have ever gotten came from codecs. For that reason, I don't know how the codec pack has improved over the years because it was so untrustworthy and so dangerous, I stopped using it. VLC is much safer. As you said, I remember you used to be able to get beta updates, or you sign up for that. You can sign up for the previews. That's always been available, but you have to click a box to enable it if you want to beta test newer updates before everybody else gets them. And you have to agree that it could destroy your computer and it could cause your computer to be unreliable. And you got to sign off on all of that. So if you're into that, that's an option in your Windows updates that you would check to get the previews. They have a name for it, which is eluding me at the moment. Sarge Tech says he wants to see inside. You about ready to film close-ups, camera girl? Yeah. And we can take a look at the BIOS as well. So these numbers, these are Gen 3 numbers all day long. And, you know, I might be outraged if I paid more money for the system. But honestly, whether we're going 3,500 or 7,000, most people aren't going to notice any difference. Depends if you're doing a lot of input, output, a lot of storage on the device itself. Your internet isn't going to be able to move anywhere near that fast. And anything over your network isn't going to be able to move anything that fast. So it's really just about load times. And 3,500 to 7,000 megabytes per second may make a difference of a few quarters of a second, a few milliseconds difference in most use case scenarios. But I'm the kind of person that if I'm getting Gen 4, I want to see Gen 4, okay? And I'm not seeing Gen 4 speeds here. These are Gen 3 speeds all day long. Just so you know, kind of helps explain how they got the price so cheap. Still a good value, but it could be a lot better. You know, we could put one of those Feijing 2 terabyte drives that's Gen 4 that'll go more than twice as fast as this drive. It's a 2 terabyte Gen 4 drive called Feijing that will fit in here just fine. And it's $82 on Amazon right now. Now, whether or not you actually notice any difference in performance seems kind of unlikely, but you'd also be increasing your capacity 4 times. No, 8 times. No, it's 2 terabytes, so 512 times 4, right? This is 512, isn't it? You just double check. Right click, properties. We go over to the hardware tab, we should be able to see who makes it. Bwin? I don't know. Never heard of them. But over on the general tab, yes, we have 512 bytes, which is 474 gigs. That all works out. Perfect. Exactly what they said we were going to get. So there's no deception happening here. It truly is a Gen 4 drive. It just isn't a good one, at least as far as performance. I don't know reliability, but when you get the faster drives, you may deal with heat issues potentially as well. So the benefit of having a slower Gen 4 drive is it likely won't have a heat problem, but that's no guarantee. I've seen slower drives run hotter, so who knows? Let's shut this down and go into the BIOS. Down, restart. Let's take a look at what our BIOS looks like on the Awow. So these are all just rebranded PCs. I'm sure it's the same BIOS as many other manufacturers who sell a very similar or the same model with their own name. They're not doing anything to the BIOS themselves, so it should be pretty well identical to what we're accustomed to. I'm just tapping on the delete key over and over again, waiting for the computer to get past this power on self-test. There we go. Okay. There's our BIOS. It's nice to see the manufacturer's name is properly in there. You'd be surprised how often it isn't on these brands that aren't as well known, but just because it's not known doesn't mean that they're new. I mean, their website says they've been around 10 years, so that I would expect that from a company that's been around. Memory is at 3200 speed. Auto power on enabled. No, I want that off. TPM support is enabled. You need that for Windows 11 compatibility. Wake on LAN, I want that off as well. How come the option is not there to turn it off? Plus or minus to change option. Plus or minus is doing nothing here. It says enable or disable. There's no disable. I don't see the option to disable it. USB boot is enabled. These are wake settings for sleep mode. This is all the TPM information in here. And the built-in FTPM that's on the processor. These are ACPI settings for sleep mode, which I don't really care about. CPU config. We have NX mode and SVM mode. And then going over to security, I don't change anything in here. Everything looks fine. I mean, you could enable secure boot. Apparently, I guess you don't have to have Windows 11 installed. I thought you did. We could turn that on if we want to, but then that would make booting to USB perhaps impossible without disabling, potentially. So I'm going to leave it alone. There's our boot order. I'm going to disable everything here because the only thing I want it booting to SD. Does this have a memory card reader on it? I didn't see any memory card reader. Let's go to USB device right there. Network stack, yeah, that's disabled. And our boot option is obviously going to be the BiWin NVMe drive. Be the first thing it tries to boot to, which is what we want it to do to boot fast. Save changes and exit. That's the whole BIOS right there, folks. Duncany joins us and says, hello, welcome in, Duncany. Cullen B873 Tech says, hello, camera girl and chat. And Carrie, welcome in. Okay, boot time's not too bad. I don't know how many of you were watching the time on that. Let me go ahead and run Uncle Carrie's Windows 10 optimizer. We'll get that out of the way. Then we'll shut it down and open it up. Now, when this tool initially runs, it's going to have all the checkboxes it recommends for that specific machine. So you don't even have to pay attention. Just hit apply and it'll go through. You'll see a lot of access denied errors while it's turning off indexing. That's going to free up some hard drive space, which is even more critical on these mini PCs where you typically don't have a lot of drive space because it's a mini PC. And so freeing up any space that's taken up by indexing, a service most people don't even use, just giving you more performance, more resources available to you. So it also adds the My Computer icon up here as well. And I also will go down to the taskbar settings here on Windows 11, and I will turn off this chat. See down here, we've got this chat thing. Turn that off. That gets rid of that. And then I will look as other system tray icons. I want to see safely eject when that's available. I want to see Bluetooth devices icon and Windows security icon. Those are the ones I want to see down here at all times. I don't want them hidden where I've got to click on something to see them. As for Microsoft OneDrive and Teams, what I can do to get rid of those is simply uninstall them by going into the control panel here under settings and under apps. And under installed apps, I'll look for Microsoft OneDrive. Like this Microsoft News, that's a little shortcut link. We don't want that. It's a quick uninstall. Microsoft OneDrive, I don't want that, and that'll prevent it from starting at startup, speed up our startup process. The beauty of it is if the recipient of the computer wants Microsoft OneDrive, it's a free download to add. Same with Microsoft Teams, we'll just uninstall it. Do any of you use Microsoft Teams? Minecraft Education Edition, install. Mixed Reality Portal, uninstall. I don't like using the, let's see, mobile plans, uninstall. I don't like using the media and TV player, so uninstall it, replace it with VLC. People like the weather. I don't know why. Leave that. Nothing to uninstall there. We can uninstall this. Any of these things you see me uninstalling can be easily re-added for free if the end user chooses to do that. I want to get rid of this media player. Again, I will replace that with VLC. Apps can stay. Oh, it's got AV1 video extension. That's nice. Very good. We're clear and we'll restart. As soon as this restarts, I will shut it down and grab a screwdriver and put Camera Girl to work, and we'll see what the guts look like. Oh, good point. Jim KJ3N mentions that many of the things I just uninstalled may come back after a big feature update. So for example, when you go from Windows 21H2 to 22H2, a lot of that stuff gets put back on because it's like a reinstall of Windows. When 23H2 comes out, likely in October, it will likely add a lot of that stuff back. And you'll say, didn't I uninstall this? Didn't Carrie uninstall this before we sent it? Why is it in there? Probably isn't hurting anything to have it, but I like to free up the resources as much as possible. I want the resources to be available for my use, not for Windows use. We have a little exclamation point here on the Security Center, so we'll deal with that real quick. I don't use Microsoft account, so I dismiss that. App and browser control, I always want to turn this on. I don't know why it's not on by default. Under device security, I just hit dismiss all because I think that's unnecessary at this stage. My attitude on this may change as security requirements evolve over the coming months and years ahead, but for now, I just dismiss that. Now, I will shut her down. See how long that takes. Power light is still on. There, power light just went off. So however long that was the actual power down time. Now I can go back to full screen on camera 1, and Camera Girl can grab the close-up camera. I'm going to turn this around and unplug power. Oh, I don't see any screws, but I see rubber feet, so I think we have to remove some rubber feet. Hate having to remove rubber feet to get to screws. Really don't like that. Let's see. Go to close-up camera. Are you ready?
Ready.
Come on over. Here we go. Here's the bottom of the unit. Let me put this keyboard out of the way. And let me get my glasses so eyes can see. Do we have a screw under here? I hate that. Have I mentioned how much I hate that? What do you keep in your toolkit as a computer technician? I bet it's some pretty fancy stuff, like a fluke tester maybe, and some specialty crimping tools. Nope, just a bottle of glue. So I can stick rubber feet back on my clients' computers after I work on them. Couldn't they have just drilled a hole or molded these with a hole in the middle? Because as these age, you may go to pull them off only to find that the sticky stuff stays attached to the computer and not to the foot. And then the more you remove it, the less sticky it gets, and it just eventually won't stick at all. It's just stupid. But at this price point, beggars can't be choosers, I suppose, and it is what it is at this price point, and should be expected at this price point. I like that I can get a regular screwdriver down there. These holes are wider than most mini PCs where I need to get a jeweler set of screwdrivers out. Those screws are longer than most as well. We always use a magnetized screwdriver. Always, always. Hey, that just came right off. Okay, that means these plugs have to come out, otherwise they will prevent us from taking this board out, including that plug there. Now you would think, wouldn't you, that this isn't the part we really want to get to. This is our CPU fan. There's nothing for us to do on this side of the motherboard. Everything we want is on the other side. We're kind of being held in on over here. So let me just try and bend this plastic away from the ports. Still right like so. And then gently separate this. You see we are attached with Wi-Fi antennas. And it's using that pad and that pad as your Wi-Fi antenna. Right there's a little pad that the wire is soldered to. Oh, this does appear to be dual channel. Look at this. We've got 2 sticks of RAM made by A-Pacer. Taped down is a SATA data and power connector for a 2.5-inch drive. How would you mount that 2.5-inch drive? Oh, I guess it's going to go down here. I see. So the usually the top is the part that comes off with the bottom staying on. And that's usually the top part that has the drive bay if it allows for a 2.5-inch drive. So this is the same, except that they've made the top. Usually the motherboard is attached to the bottom piece, not to the top piece. So that's the part they've done backwards. Here's our M.2 drive. I don't know how well you're seeing that. And that screwdriver is not going to work for us. So we'll grab this set of drivers here. This one ought to do the trick. There is no other M.2 slot. This is the only one you're going to get. But the Wi-Fi is upgradable. That's good to see. So we can have up to 64 gigs of RAM. There's nothing that prevents us from installing an 8 gig NVMe in here if we wanted to, other than, as I mentioned, heat issues are potential. And then we have upgradable Wi-Fi. So if we wanted to put like an AX210 in here to get Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 5.3, it's just 1 screw and 2 antenna wires, plugs right in. That's it. That's the whole kit and caboodle. I'm looking through the chat room here. Does anybody have any questions about the insides while we're in here? Anything you want to know? Yes, this is, Mark Gaines says, nice, it's upgradable. It's as upgradable as it possibly can be. Yeah, there's no soldered on RAM. We do have dual channel, which I was afraid it was single, but it is dual. And then we've got our standard NVMe, but they don't have any sort of heat sink on it or anything. So heat could potentially be a problem if you want to go with something higher performance. This is a 4 terabyte NVMe, and you'll see it's got chips on both sides. And some of these units won't allow a double-sided M.2 drive to fit, but this one fits with no problem. So 4 terabytes of storage that will run essentially at the same speeds. Even though this is a Gen 3 NVMe drive, it will run on a Gen 4 slot, only at Gen 3 speeds. This is a Gen 4 rated, or a Gen 4 controller on this, but they're using slower memory chips. The NAND that's on here is slow. As a result, we're getting Gen 3 like speeds out of this Gen 4 that would be probably not much better than what we'd get out of this unit here. At 4 terabytes, that would be the equivalent of having 8 of these drives installed. Or as I mentioned, that Feng Jing drive, which is a really good deal. And I have one of those. Where do I have it? You can get these on Amazon all day long for a little over $80. I think it sells for $91 and there's a 10% off coupon. Sometimes it's a $10 off coupon. And that's a Gen 4 2 terabyte drive. As you can see, I've removed the one from the box here. But you could easily upgrade that if you wanted 4 times the capacity and twice the performance for a relatively low price. Although it does add up to be about the equivalent of 33% of the entire cost of the machine just for that one upgrade. Okay, can I put this back together or did we have any questions? David Ice provides a Amazon link to the AX210. Yeah, they're only like $20 to upgrade the Wi-Fi. And those little 4 terabyte NVMe drives I just showed, they were $169 over at Amazon and Newegg. But now Amazon's got it back at $185, but I still think it's a bargain at $185 for 4 terabytes. So everything is upgradable here. A little more difficult to get into, right? I don't appreciate that they've made this the way that they've made it, where you've got to, when you open it, what?
RAM.
Oh, I got to put the RAM back in?
Yeah.
Good catch. I'd have figured it out after I put the last screw in. And this is DDR4, right? Yeah, this is DDR4, not DDR5. Waiting for the, hold on. There it goes.
3200.
Yep. Well, we did see 3200 in the BIOS. And then I guess we have to put in like the back of it first, slide these connectors. See how they stick out? So they have to go through the holes first. Or at least get them aligned with the holes. Then, because they stick it on the other side, you take the plastic. And this is where you want a plastic housing. If this was a metal housing, good luck. So there are benefits to plastic housings, especially if it has this kind of a design. Ideally, they would not have designed it like this if it were a metal housing, because it would have been a nightmare to get it out. And it appears the same screws that hold the motherboard down onto the top half of the unit are the same screws that hold the bottom half, and I appreciate that. Craig Casabona with a $20 super chat. What is the limit on SSD? I don't believe there is a limit. Whatever they make, you can put in there, but there could be concerns about the amount of heat generated by a large SSD, large capacity SSD. Like the Oyen Digital 8 terabyte will work fine in here. It's Gen 4 and it's fast and it's large, but you may encounter heat-related slowdowns on that drive. If it were me and I needed more storage, I would not put anything larger than 2 terabytes in these mini computers because of the heat concern. And instead, I would rely on external storage, whether that's USB or network attached storage. That's what I would do. Don't over tighten the screws when it's plastic. You can break threads, essentially cracking the mounting point. Now, thankfully, these feet came off clean, and we got the sticky end sticking to the feet like it's supposed to. But, you know, if you're the kind of person that opens your computer up a lot, you might want to leave the feet off. But if you leave the feet off, then you may not have enough space for the fan to breathe. So then you would need to put something, you could go to the store and buy some rubber feet and just put it near the corners. They obviously don't build these to be opened very often for that purpose. They, again, if they just had holes right here at the back end of the foot, you could probably even take some scissors and cut the corner off of it. So you'd still have the foot and have access to the screw. Wouldn't look as good, but who the hell's looking at it when it's like that anyway? All right, did we break it or does it still work? And I dropped the network cables. Let me get her out here and find where it fell. I should probably look on Amazon for one of those cable holder things. Since I'm doing this more and more, this is becoming a, used to be a problem I had every now and again, and now it's a problem I'm having constantly. Let's fire it up and let's see what the brand name is and the speed of the Ethernet. Oh, you're moving away?
Mm-hmm.
You trying to tell me something?
Oh, no, it's fine. I mean, I
Oh,
just
okay.
figured you were going to put it
Yeah,
on
we're going to
the
go to
back side.
HDMI input. You're clear. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. And then I'm going to put myself in a corner like I always do. Tom K contributed $2. Looks like I missed that earlier. Thank you, Tom. Okay, let me go full screen again. Okay. Right click on the start button. Go to device manager. Network adapters, what do we have? They are two Intel i225Vs. So the 2.5 at the end, that's 2.5. That's a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet adapter. That's what the 2.5 on the end means. So they're identical. Sometimes you don't get identical ones. I've seen many PCs where one of them is Realtek and one of them is Intel, or one of them is 1 gig and one of them is 2.5 gig. So it's nice that these are both the same and they're both Intel. What that means is we could download the Intel Driver Assistant tool, which is free. Intel Driver Assistant. And we can add that to this computer and it'll just sit in the system tray quietly, alerting us if any of the Intel related hardware in this mini PC has a driver update from Intel. It's a pretty small download. And my camera is going to be covering up the top right corner where it's going to show us that it's downloaded the file. Screen on the side here. Anyway, I'm going to click open the file. And in just a minute, starts the license agreement, which I agree to. This thing I decline. That's if it wants you to join their improvement program to report any errors back to Intel anonymously. There's no harm in that, but you know, that's up to you. And it'll just take a second to install, and we'll let that happen. And then while that's doing that, I can put my camera back in the. Now, this may have, for example, Intel Bluetooth, Intel Wi-Fi, Intel Ethernet, Intel video drivers. So these are all potentially the drivers we could be getting as soon as they come out with no worry of compatibility with the unit. And you don't have to worry about paying a company for drivers that may be giving you the wrong drivers. This is all free and just the benefit of using Intel equipment, Intel networking. Even if you have an AMD computer with an Intel networking card, you can download this free Intel Driver Assistant tool. If that's the only thing you're checking, it's still free and it's still just as effective for keeping you up to date, which could improve the performance and reliability through updates, especially as the operating system gets updates. that can cause previously working drivers to not be so good anymore. So it's always good to keep your drivers updated so you don't have that experience. Stay one step ahead is what I'm saying. Now down here in the bottom right corner, we will see an icon, and it'll give us a green dot or a red dot. See it at all. I don't see a button to check. That's unusual. Right click, taskbar settings. Your system tray icons. Is the Intel assistant in there? Yeah. I don't know why I'm not getting the little up arrow, but we're going to turn that on so we can see it. It ain't there for some reason. I'm going to reboot it one more time just to see if that was some kind of a weird side effect. Sarge said he's got a bag of stick-on rubber feet he's used on lots of small machines like this next to the screws. Yeah, yeah. Who'd have thought in my career I'd have to buy a bag of stick-on rubber feet to potentially have as something needed when I do computer repairs. Times they are a changin'. But yeah, probably a good idea if you're somebody that opens these machines up regularly. Better luck over here or what? Loaded it exactly the same way. Where's my icon? Just not here for some reason. So what we can do is look on the start menu, all apps. Oh, it was actually, all right, scroll over to I for Intel. Intel driver and support assistant. We'll just run it this way, I guess. Scans the system. It says no support driver software updates are available, and it gives us a little information about the unit. Then you can hit the little down arrow if you want more information about each piece of hardware. It's kind of a nice way to get CPU-Z-like information. It is an Intel wireless adapter, AC8265. Bluetooth is also by Intel. The Ethernet controller is made by Intel. The RAM doesn't tell us who is made by, but we know that's APacer storage. So it's nice even if you use the Intel driver assistant just for system specs, which of course we can use CPU-Z for as well. Speaking of which, I can get VLC installed while we're finishing up configuring this machine. Next. And let that install. And as far as CPU-Z, does that tell us if we're in dual channel? I can't remember if CPU-Z does that. Let's see. That done. Mark Gaines contributes 10 pounds. Thank you, Mark. He says, Carrie, I like this mini PC. Also, check your PayPal. Okay, I don't know why CPU-Z is taking that long. Oh, there it goes. Does it tell us if our memory's in dual channel or not? There we can see it's APacer. It's actually made by Samsung, it appears. The memory chips. Let's hit Control-Alt-Delete. Let's go to the task manager, and maybe it shows if under performance, under memory. Slots used 2 of 2. Speed is 3200. I don't see where it tells us if we're in dual channel or not. I thought it was in here somewhere. Let me take a look at my email. Oh, I guess Peter Laycock saying good night. Hey, Buster, thanks for hanging out with us. Oystein joins us from Norway. He wants to know, can you combine those two 2.5 gig Ethernets to a single 5 gig connection? I have no idea. No idea. But maybe somebody in the chat room knows? I don't know. I'm just now upgrading around here to 2.5 gig. None of my clients have it yet. Mark Gaines sent $24.35. Right on, Mark. Thank you so much for your continued support and your generosity. Mark is joining us all the way from Northern Ireland. Noman says he doesn't want another tray, a tool running in his tray. Well, that's a pretty important tool, and it doesn't really take up much in the way of system resources. And there'd be really no other way for you to know that a driver came out until eventually, at some point, weeks or months or years later, you finally checked it. So it's a nice little low resource tool that is incredibly beneficial for system maintenance. It just gives you a little red dot, and that's your reminder that there is an update. Otherwise, unless you have your own system where you routinely check on a regular basis, I've never met a human being that can do that. They always miss a week, they miss a check. Sometimes they check it religiously for a while, and then they get a little lax, a little complacent, and then it eventually just stops getting updated. So as much as I can, I like to use automation, not to do the work for me, but just as a reminder and as peace of mind that, yes, I've got the latest drivers for my video and my Ethernet and my Wi-Fi. Those are going to make a massive difference to how secure your system is and how well it's performing, as well as any additional problems that can come through Windows updates. If you're getting the driver before you need it, you'll never experience why the driver was updated, and you save yourself having a problem. But if you prefer to be reactive instead of proactive, okay, that's how you want to do it, you certainly can. I have way too many computers to maintain. I can't, not enough hours in the day to put myself through that kind of time consumption. It's just too much. But it's a free tool. It's from Intel. And even that's not good enough for some people. So what are you going to do? Can't please everybody. Let's see. Looking through the chat, see if I'm missing anything here. Is Douglas still in the chat room? Kind of curious how Douglas is planning to use the computer to see if this would be an ideal machine for him. I want to make sure we get him something that's going to be useful for how he uses it. Like, what kind of things would you be using this computer for on a regular basis? Bob R says storage settings is a nice touch on Windows. Yes, it absolutely helps maintain your system. You don't need third-party applications like CCleaner. You can just type in storage, S-T-O-R-A is about as far as I need to go, and I see turn on storage sense. Now, Uncle Carrie's Windows 10 Optimizer automatically turns this on and sends it to check or to clean every month. We can manually run it right now just to clean up all those Windows update files, since we don't need the update files themselves once it's been integrated into Windows. That can free up some hard drive space. Yes, Douglas says he's still watching. Right on, Douglas. Yeah, so how would this machine routinely be used? Are you going to be using it mainly for web surfing, mainly for watching something like Netflix or YouTube? Or, yeah, give us an idea. Are you into photography and you're going to be doing photo editing with it? That way we can figure out what's the best configuration for you. Make sure that we're sending you something more specific to your needs rather than just a generic box sent out generically, which is what I was going to do. So even though we've run that disk cleanup tool, there is a separate disk cleanup tool that still exists. That's part of it's part of Windows, but they've kind of, Microsoft has sort of hidden it away now for some reason. We close this and close this, close that. Sometimes after running storage sense, the disk cleanup tool doesn't open. Hey, finally, our Intel driver support assistant icon appeared. I guess I was being too impatient. Let me restart this. And that allows the storage sense to finish. See how it says updates are underway? That's storage sense that's doing that. And that's why the disk cleanup tool, when I went to start it, nothing happened. Be nice if Windows would tell you, hey, I'm still waiting for you to restart so I can finish running storage sense. So yeah, these aren't actually updates that are running. It's storage sense that's running. Douglas says some photo editing. What photo editing software do you use, Douglas? Are you just using the built-in Windows 11 photo editor, or do you use some photo editing software? John Paul Bacon says, I have the Acronis driver updater software. I wouldn't use it. I love Acronis, but I would not use that. Okay, now I could run disk cleanup and it should run disk. I don't even have to type anything more than the word disk. Disk cleanup shows up. I want to hit clean system files. It's going to scan. This is carried over from Windows 95 days. And we're going to check every box here. That's going to free up only half a gig. I've seen this free up 20 gigs on systems, and it could take a while to run too. So even after running storage sense, it still left 450 gigs of junk files, 450 megs of junk files behind. So that's why I run them both, and I run them in that order. So yeah, Douglas, looks like his needs are pretty simple, and this would clearly meet those needs. Now, Douglas, do you want this unit, or would you want to wait? Tuesday, I'll review the trig key unit, which may be better or the same or worse. I don't know yet. I'm certainly in no hurry. I don't know if you are, but you're welcome to this Awow unit. It's got your name on it if you want it, or you can wait and see and then have your pick between the trig key and the Awow. Which do you prefer? I'm going to grab a colder Gatorade. And then any final questions? We're going to wrap up today's video. We've gone on a little over 2 hours right now. And I like these reviews to be around 2 hours. It's okay if we go a little over, but I really don't want to go to 3. It starts getting discouraging for people. If they see a 3-hour video, they won't even bother to click on it. So some people won't do that if it's more than 10 minutes. And that's okay. I don't necessarily want those people as viewers anyway. But I think 2 hours is a reasonable time to really dig in. Also give us time to talk back and forth. Morton said he's having a Coke and chips. All right, that's the Carrie special. Douglas says he can wait. Okay, well, hopefully you'll join us in the live chat on Tuesday as we review the trig key. And I should have another trig key. I've got 2 trig keys coming. But I think the trig key that's arriving tomorrow, no, the trig key that I've already got, the one that arrived earlier today, is the one that RobTech said he thought was the best value, best bang for the buck. Wintermute says, In the memory tab of CPU-Z, the 2 times 64-bit indicates dual. They changed the terminology there in the latest version of CPU-Z. Oh, all right, good to know. Appreciate the feedback. And once again, after we run the disk cleanup tool, it still may continue to run during a restart because there may be files in use, certain temp files, that once Windows shuts down the program that's using the temp file, that the disk cleanup utility can then remove that temp file. And that's why I always restart the computer after running Storage Sense, and quite often before running the disk cleanup tool. So I don't think you necessarily have to do that, but I found the disk cleanup tool sometimes will not run until after you restart, so Storage Sense can finish. And I've seen sometimes the disk cleanup tool continue to run during a restart. It'll say installing updates. Just depends on the files that the disk cleanup is cleaning up on the computer. So I just kind of make it a habit and always do it the same way. Overall, as far as my concerns, my evaluation of the Awow unit, as long as that coupon is in effect, which has the Awow, did I lose the page? Hold on, let me bring the Amazon page back up because I want to just look at it one more time. Oh, geez. I still have the search results for when I was looking for that scammy C from Anaco or whatever they were called. Awow has a number of models that are available. So just to share with you my search results here, if you were to search for it on Amazon, we get a lot of different units. Some of these units are quite old. A J4105 is an old CPU. I would not get it. 6 gigs of RAM is an odd number with 64 gigs of storage. That's barely usable. That's also an old CPU. I would not buy it. It's $89 for an entire computer, which is crazy. There's a Celeron. Again, the Celeron J series is very old. I would not buy a brand new computer with a Celeron J series. I'd be hesitant to even get like the N series unless it's an N100 or above personally. N95 is acceptable, but just. I believe this is the unit we're looking at here. So $359.99, so $360. There's a coupon for $70 savings that brings it to $290. And for $290, you're getting a mid-range Ryzen 5 5600 6-core 12-thread processor with 16 gigs of DDR4 in dual channel with a 512 gig Gen 4 SSD that really runs at Gen 3 speeds. You know what? Under $300, it's a mid-range computer. As long as there's a coupon that keeps this price under $300, I think it's a good deal. That's my personal opinion. I think it's more than reasonable what you're getting for your money here. And I like how it's configured. It seems that it was configured well as far as the operating system goes. And all the drivers look good. Speaking of drivers, can we find drivers for it? This is an Awow AMG10 driver download. Let's see if it finds anything here. Yes, drivers and OS. These are all the different models. Oh, we got to do this thing again. Let's get that out of here. Looks like they alphabetized. No, it's not alphabetized. Oh, wow. Some old versions here. I don't see this in the list. What did we say this was? AMG10? Oh, I'm on the wrong On the wrong keyboard. AMG 10. Nothing. Search. What if we went to products? A little aggressive with their little sales thing there, aren't they? Mini PC. None of these, none of these. Celeron, Celeron, Celeron. No, no, no. This page. Okay, well, that's a little concerning. We have a computer that apparently they don't make. Celeron. Celeron. Celeron, Celeron, Celeron. Okay, this is all really low end stuff here. And old low end stuff at that. It's not gonna work. Go back, 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 back. Drivers and OS page 2, apparently. It's not in this list. Let's go back. So you can imagine if I wiped it and reinstalled it, how upset I might be, how stressed I might be, going, I need the drivers. I wish I would have thought of that before I wiped it, right? Hence, we could have run the DSIM command and extracted those drivers, because they don't appear to exist. The only last thing I can think to check, let's see here. Back over to camera 1. Let's go HDMI input. Let's go back over to the mini PC here. Something else I like to do is change the power saving settings. I just type in the word plan, edit power plan. Turn off the display never, put the computer to sleep never. I would turn off the display after a couple hours, 2-3 hours. And we can go into advanced power settings if we want to take a look there at some of the other power options there. But interesting that that was set to never and never. Okay, if we looked again on right click, go to properties on the My PC icon, under this information, online support, where does that take us? To the same place? And does it give us any different make or model number of the unit here in the software? It does not. But the bottom of the unit identifies it as an AMG10. So we type in AMG10 in the search. Well, here, let's just go to support. Let's do it this way. Any PC support. I think we're right back to where we were. AMG10 is not in the list. Nope, doesn't exist. So that could be a concern. So backing up these machines when you get them is critical. I would highly encourage, regardless of who makes the computer, it's just an inconvenience, even when you can get the drivers. It takes a long time to reinstall Windows and all the updates and reconfigure it. Once you get the system set up the way you like it, take a system image of it. You know, backups are always free to make with Acronis. You can back up for free indefinitely. No, that's not right. You can restore your backups indefinitely with Acronis. You don't have to have a paid version of Acronis to restore an Acronis image. But think about this. You could download the trial of Acronis for free, do a full system image backup onto an external drive. And when your trial expires, don't worry about it. If and when the day ever comes that you need to recover your system image, buy a license for Acronis when you need it. Once you've got that license, you'll have to download and create an Acronis rescue disk or rescue USB stick, boot from it, plug your backup drive in, and restore your image. And it'll take you back in time to exactly the way your computer was the day you made that image. The same wallpaper, the same icons, the same temp files and viruses. If you left those on there, it literally puts it back to the exact, every bit of data on the drive, the entire drive goes back to how it was the day you made the backup. And I mention that because if your backup's a few months or a few years old, well, you could have missing a ton of data that you've added since then if you hadn't backed that up separately. Or you may have a lot of Windows updates. For example, if 23H2 comes out this fall, and it's a big update, and you hadn't backed up with that, you'll have to do that all over again because you are going back in time. I bring that up because you might want to update your image at whatever frequency you feel personally that a lot has changed since your last image, and you wouldn't want to go through all those changes again. It's an individual decision. And if that's the case, find some backup software. I use Acronis, but you don't have to. But at least for that initial peace of mind, it'll buy you some time. Hopefully you don't need to restore from that image, but if you do it, you've got it. You will be hard pressed to find the drivers for this unit. I should extract the drivers and make them available for people because I would be very upset if I was not able to find the drivers. Maybe I'll reach out to Awow and ask them. They might have a download, but you have to request it. I've seen them do this before because the files can be so big, it can be very costly for them, for people that are just, I don't know why companies would just waste other companies' bandwidth, but they do. They have bots that'll just download files all day. That's why you've got to prove you're human for a lot of these sites. The company doesn't have the budget and technical prowess to implement that. And what they do on their big downloads is they only make them available upon request for that reason. There's nothing shady about it. It just has to do with budget. So maybe I'll reach out to them first. And if they have a driver package, I'll download it and I'll make sure I have a copy of it. You're not going to have these problems with Intel. You're not going to have these problems with big name manufacturers like ASUS. They always have their drivers and everything available. When we're dealing with these little known brands coming out of China, they have a different business culture. They have a different culture, period. What we consider normal and expected, they don't, for obvious reasons. Otherwise, they'd be doing that. When they do business in America, they should do it the way other businesses in America do it. But a lot of times they just don't know, right? So, if you're doing business one way in your country and a completely different way in another country, they often divide the company and they'll have like a division specifically for the US. But if you're just a two-man operation, which for all we know, this could be, or if 98% of your business is in China and you're just getting a little extra from the States, then you may not be a big investment for you to adjust your business culture to the States. So just keep that in mind, especially if you're buying from places like AliExpress or Temu, or a lot of times there's no service after the sale, and that's just how business is in China. It's that way in India too, by the way. Customer service is kind of a Western thing. Jeremy says, I love the long videos you make. Better than anything on the boob tube, that's for sure. Hey, thank you. That guy gets it. Thank you again for everybody who's contributed during today's video. And that, of course, includes Buster, our friend Peter Laycock in Scotland, Mark Gaines in Northern Ireland. Thanks also to Alan Lindas for just keeping us in the loop there and sharing his experience. If you have an experience with a mini PC and you'd like to share it with us, please email it to me or leave it in the comments below the video for everybody to read. If you feel like you've been burned by a company, feel free to vent it out here. It's fine, as long as it's following the community standards. And no, I'm forgetting somebody. Oh, I had a contribution yesterday when I didn't have a show, which is weird, but that sometimes happens. But I have to make a mental note to shout out a thank you. And yeah, yesterday, Michael, I'm trying to find it. Michael Mariello contributed $5 via Zelle. I don't have many people that send via Zelle, but thank you, Michael. Thank you for your support. I hope you're watching this and hearing your name shouted out. Thank you also to all the super chats that came in during today's broadcast. Let me pull those up real quick. I'll start at the bottom, the most recent, and work our way back. So again, Mark Gaines, Craig Casabona, Planet Cryos, Thomas Yeager, Paul O'Brien, Peter Laycock, Sarge Tech, who gave us our first contribution today, Tom K. Thank you guys for helping support the channel. It's with your support that I'm able to make these purchases and make these videos. And if you get a chance, subscribe to my mini PC reviews channel if you want to see nothing but PC reviews. They're the same videos, exactly the same, except I'm using now the recorded version. So if there was buffering or something that got cut out, that will be the complete video. And I upscale them into 4K, although you don't have to watch them in 4K. So when this video is done, I'm going to pull the file out of OBS onto a flash drive, put it on the 13500 build that we did, which is running CyberLink Power Director, and that thing cranks out videos faster. It renders rather faster than any computer I have here using onboard built-in GPU, which is crazy. When the file's done, I copy it back over to the streamer because this has the high-speed internet connection. Those files are 20 to 40 gigs in size, and I let them upload to YouTube. They usually take an hour or two, and then YouTube processes them for an hour or two, and then they get scheduled to be released at 9 a.m. the next day. And I still have to go back and find some older PC reviews, including my original Nook review from 2013. I will be adding it. That's all you're going to see on the Mini PC Review channel are Mini PC reviews. There won't be any exceptions to that. Jeb, thank you for the $2 Super Chat contribution. I want to see quickly if I can find, because remember I tried to find it the other day and I couldn't find my PC Reviews channel. Let's see, Mini PC Reviews. See if I have mini PC reviews listed here. It's such a small channel, you know, it's not yet popular enough to be showing up at the top search results. Give it time, it'll get there. There it is. There it is, right there. I'm going to show you the channel. Bear with me for just a second. Why does it say no signal? Oh, I had clicked the wrong thing. That's not the page it should be pulling up. Why is it doing that? Hang on a minute. Oh, because I'm on HDMI input 1, dummy. That's why. I need to be on window capture. It would help if that's twice in a row I clicked the wrong thing on OBS. Yeah, this is where I wanted to take you. You'll see this is the Mini PC Review channel. If I click on the little icon there, it's a cool little avatar that Camera Girl made. We only have 311 subscribers. There are 30 videos. Each video is its own review of one computer. So if we go to the videos button here, and I tried to space them out so that you don't see a bunch of Ace Magicians in a row or a bunch of Minis forums in a row. So it's kind of a little bit of everything sort of spread across, with the most recent stuff I did, like the NPV7 being the first video I posted. And it's kind of happening quietly in the background. And when I reach 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours worth of watch time, then I can apply for monetization on this channel, which is not a big deal because, you know, it won't earn that much. It might make me $50 a month or something, but hey, a couple of months of that could pay for another mini PC to review. And I figure I'll take advantage of it. Well, these mini PCs are a thing. I think they're kind of hopping right now because it's still fairly new and kind of exciting. People are still being made aware they even exist. And it'll be interesting to see what sort of place they fit into in a couple of years' time when the newness dies down and some of these smaller manufacturers end up perishing due to, you know, not having their business sustainable enough to run. So we'll see if companies like Boz Game and Chewy are still around and Morfine. I hope they're all around, but never know. Camrui is a division of Ace Magician. They're just rebranded, just so you know. I had asked Ace Magician to send me an AM07 for review, and they said, we already sent you an AM07 for review. I said, well, you sent me a Camrui. They go, yeah, it's the same thing. Then I thought, well, AM, I bet you stands for Ace Magician. That's weird that they do that. In the box has a Camrui logo instead of an Ace Magician logo. But other than that, it's the exact same machine and it has a slightly different price. Very strange. And they probably have other brands they do that with too. It's probably not just limited to those two. Anyway, Mini PC Reviews is the name of the channel, at Mini PC Reviews, one word. And you can subscribe to it if you want to, if you're interested in that. Okay, I think that's going to wrap it up for me for today. Thanks, you guys, for hanging out with me. Thanks for the discussion. We have the most awesome community on the internet. And I hope if you're watching the video and you're seeing the chat replay, or maybe the chat isn't replaying for you if this video is posted on the other channel, it's just the video. I hope you'll be encouraged to come into our live video chat room and chat with us, because it's just a really cool place on the internet where everybody's friendly, everybody's supportive. And I'm seeing, it just tickles me to see all these friendships being developed by people, like where Peter Laycock is buying Douglas a new machine. Douglas, an American veteran, Peter, who just retired from his job there in Scotland, without the participation in the chat, these two wouldn't get to know each other. One wouldn't get the opportunity to help the other. And who knows what the future holds? Maybe something happens where then Douglas is in an opportunity to help Peter. I mean, it's not an obligation, it's a community. And we help each other who can help when we can. And people who are not in a situation where they can help people might be in the future, and they could trade places. In the meantime, it's just being around like-minded individuals, sharing your passion without having to see arguing and fighting and all the other nonsense drama and spamming and all the other junk that happens on the dumpster fire we call the internet. Here we've got a nice little hidden gem. And there's a benefit to us being as small as we are, you know, having only 300 to 500 people in the live chat is something that will likely be looked back on fondly, because as the channel grows and becomes more popular, then so does the activity in the chat room. So for right now, it's not discouraging to get in there and talk, because it's not that busy. It can get a little busy sometimes, but it doesn't stay that way. And then, of course, for more intimate one-on-one, we have the members only videos. And if you pay the $9.99 a month to be a member here at the channel, your money goes to fund stuff like this. And you get your own videos that are never available to the public, along with a chat room that never has more than 40 people in it, tops. So it's not like I'm not seeing chats. We could talk much more relaxed. And we also do things like giveaways and stuff there that's only for the members, just so you know. I want to reward the people who are rewarding me, and I want to make sure that they see my appreciation. And if you're in a position where you can do that, we'd love to have you as a member. Thank you, Camera Girl. She did today's thumbnail, which was kind of a last minute thing. And she's going to do the thumbnail for the trig key that we've got coming up on Tuesday. And I've got some stuff coming from AliExpress, which should be very interesting. Some mini PCs and stuff that I'm very much looking forward to, because they might be good or they might be scary. So that's all part of the fun of it. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of what's remaining of your Sunday. I'll see the members tomorrow at 1 o'clock Pacific time, as always. And everybody else, I should be back here Monday at 1 p.m. Tuesday at 1 p.m., Wednesday at 1 p.m., Thursday at 1 p.m., Friday at 1 p.m. The Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays are optional depending on if my clients call or other important distractions happen during life. I'm going to try and get a lot of these mini PCs shipped Monday and Tuesday. I may not get them all out on Monday. Just getting them prepped right now. Congratulations again to all of winners. We've got about 10 people getting mini PCs. And that's just their reward for being regulars in the chat room and participating and showing their kindness. We reward kindness with kindness. And then we've got more giveaways coming up for American veterans who perhaps may not be a part of the community, but hopefully they'll consider it. Either way, we want to help them. And okay, that's going to wrap it up for me. I will see you all again very, very soon. Until next time, bye for now. And I got the wrong mouse again. I got to come over here. I got to find an outro. Let's just do... We'll do my spinning. Here we go.